Welcome to this week's Artists on Art. I'm your host, Nada Milkovich. We have some traditional Irish tunes in the background, arranged and performed by William Coulter. And today I have the great pleasure of speaking with Robin Whitehouse. Robin, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for coming up here. We're here today to talk about the upcoming Baroque Festival event happening February 21st, where you'll be able to hear quite a bit of William Coulter's traditional Irish tunes and arrangements. Robin came up to talk to us today about the Baroque Festival and his love of music and the Baroque tradition. And so, Robin, let's start with just letting our dear audience know what the heck is Baroque.
Well, Baroque music is, of course, it's about the style of music that occurred, before the classical period, after the Romantic period. It's characterized by a lot of different things, but generally the years we apply to it are 1600 to 1750. And one of the big driving things behind Baroque music is the prevalence of what's called the basso continuo, which didn't really happen much before or after, kind of continued in opera through the classical and Romantic periods a little bit, but basso continuo was the real driving thing in the style of Baroque, which was just a single line bass. With every piece, there was a bass line. It's a single line melody. Of course, you would play that with cello or bassoon or some bass instrument, of course. And there would be what's called figures attached to that. So little numbers that tell you what the harmony is. And just like today, how we use chord symbols, major, minor, diminished chords to outline what the chords are, what the harmonic progress of a piece is. Back then, it was these chord symbols called figures, and so those would sit on top of the bass line, and a harpsichordist who would play along with the bass line player, like the cellist, would improvise accompaniment based on these figures. And so it wasn't necessarily harpsichord, it was any keyed instrument, organ, lute, that sort of thing. And this would be the basis of so much of Baroque music. And then, if it was a trio sonata, there would be two solo instruments, like a violin and a recorder, playing melodies in going against each other on top of this founding basso continuo. So, to me, that's what I focus on in Baroque music. That's what excites me about it.
And Robin Whitehouse is an alum here at UCSC. He studied music with the harpsichord here, and that's how you got involved with the Santa Cruz Baroque Festival.
That's right. My teacher was Linda Berman Hall, who is the founder and artistic director of the Baroque Festival.
And she has been doing this now 42 years.
Yeah, the Baroque Festival was started in 1974. So it's been around in Santa Cruz for a while.
Yeah, it's fabulous. And so the traditional Irish tunes and arrangements that were created by William Coulter are happening February 21st at 7:30 p.m., and most of your concerts are at the Music Recital Hall here at UCSC.
Yeah, they happen right here.
And so William Coulter is also a teacher here?
He's a teacher, yeah. He's the guitar faculty, so he teaches guitar on campus to our music students. And he's also, so he does that part-time, and then the other part is he's the recording tech for music department events.
And then he arranges music.
Yeah, of course, he does all this music performance on the side. He plays with a lot of famous, well-known people. He tours around and does different shows, which is great. So it's fun to have him, bringing what he does in his own professional life here to campus through the Baroque Festival for us to enjoy locally.
Yeah. And so, again, the reason, even though this is Irish and maybe you don't think of Irish music as being Baroque, but the fact that it was written between 1600 and 1750 and performed at that time, and that it has this basso continuo, that is why we call it Baroque.
Yeah. So the Baroque Festival features very Baroque-related music. Generally, it's right on. This is exactly Baroque music, but sometimes it's on the outer edges of what is is related to Baroque, and it keeps things fun and interesting that way. But the reason why this concert is related to the Baroque is because all the pieces that will be performed are melodies composed by Turlough O'Carolan, who was Ireland's most famous Baroque harper, and he actually happened also to be blind, so he would perform all kinds of melodies, and he's blind and he's a Baroque composer, so that's what's going on with this concert.
Again, that's February 21st at 7:30 p.m. All of the shows start at 7:30 p.m. at the Music Recital Hall here at UCSC. William Coulter arranged and is performing these Irish tunes, traditional Irish tunes, but also he is bringing some pretty great artists, musicians that will be playing as well. You want to tell us some of those people?
Sure. They're all Santa Cruz local musicians who have some critical acclaim. One of them is Barry Phillips, who's going to be playing Baroque cello, and he won a Grammy a couple of years ago, which is great for a Ravi Shankar album. And
then his wife Shelley Phillips is playing.
His wife is also playing, and she's going to be playing harp, flute, oboe, and English horn.
And then we have Debbie Grosjean.
Debbie Grosjean. And she is a renowned Celtic fiddler.
Wonderful. And then Jesse Autumn.
Jesse Autumn is playing harp.
Wonderful. And if you would like to have more information about this, you can go to scbaroque.org and you'll get all of the information about this upcoming event happening February 21st, one night only, folks, here at UCSC in the Music Recital Hall. Robin, you are a part of the Baroque Festival Board of Directors.
That's right. Yeah.
And how long have you been doing that?
Let's see. I've been doing it since April 2013, so almost 2 years now.
Almost 2 years. And that came, again, from your studying music here on campus.
I studied harpsichord with Linda, and the Baroque Festival was looking for more members, and I thought it would be interesting to do, so I came to a meeting and thought it was the coolest thing, and so I was able to join and have been working side by side with the Baroque Festival ever since.
And again, folks, Baroque meaning that it was written between 1600 and 1750, and it has this basso continuum that carries the tune throughout the songs, which maintain some elements in the opera genre.
Yeah, that was prevalent through the classical period in opera, even though it died out with all other forms of classical music.
Mm-hmm. And then Baroque also follows the Renaissance style of music.
That's right.
And Baroque also refers to architecture and art as well as music, as does the Renaissance period as well. And so your next event, which is happening March 14th, just to let everyone know, the Baroque Festival usually put on 5 events a year.
That's right.
And this is the second event?
Yeah, this is our second concert happening on Saturday.
And so then the third concert will be March 14th, and this is an interesting concert. You'll be bringing a group called the Baltimore Consort.
Yeah, they're really good.
They're performing something very interesting. Robin Whitehouse, tell us what they'll be doing.
Well, they are going to be performing music from the plays of Shakespeare. So from the most researched information that we have, we've got a lot of the original songs that were performed originally with Shakespeare's very first productions of his plays. And so they have that music, and they've arranged it for their ensemble, and they will be performing those songs for us to hear music almost very closely to what Shakespeare himself would have heard during his plays.
Right, and without having exact recordings, we really can't be sure, but the research was able to figure out how these songs were performed during the plays?
Well, the research found the melodies themselves.
I see.
And in some cases, they're not the exact melodies, but depending on what the Baltimore Consort chooses, most of what we hear is going to be the exact melody that was heard there. And then they're arranging it for their Baroque ensemble.
Right. And even though Shakespeare lies just a little bit outside of the Baroque period and more in the Renaissance period, and the way he used the music for the play isn't quite in with the basso continuo.
Yeah, what we expect from the plays themselves is that at sometimes maybe it was simply a lutenist who was accompanying the music, or maybe a recorder player playing the melody without any accompaniment. And that's what would have been heard. But since this is a concert, of course, and the Baltimore Concert's excellent at their arrangements and everything, they're doing a full ensemble arrangement of these pieces. So you hear the melody that was exactly as in Shakespeare's time and being performed on instruments that were around in Shakespeare's time. But these are beefed up, fun, full arrangements with, I think, 5 musicians.
And Robin, Whitehouse, so another kind of essential quality that would be able to distinguish a piece of music that was created in the Renaissance period from a piece of music that was created in the Baroque period is that the Renaissance was more singular, instrumental type composed music as opposed to orchestrated.
It tended to be less orchestrated, or less specifically orchestrated. If you look at the very early operas, which were late Renaissance, early Baroque, it wasn't specifically orchestrated for exact instruments. It was just like play it with whatever you have. The composer was there arranging it, so he just had these 5 different lines and tossed them out to whichever musicians he had.
Where it became more formalized with the Baroque.
Became more formalized with the Baroque, and especially into the classical period. But also the Baroque period had all this improvisation and ornate ornaments that were thrown in by performers on top of existing melodies, and that was a huge feature of the Baroque, which again still existed in the Renaissance, but it was less formalized and expected as it would be in the Baroque.
Which brings us to the 4th concert of your season of the Santa Cruz Baroque Festival, which is Treasures of J.S. Bach.
That's right.
And that's happening April 11th.
Yes.
Again at 7:30 p.m., although this one's a little different. It's not at the Music Recital Hall as all the other ones. This one will be performed at the Holy Cross. Yes,
that's correct. Holy Cross Church. And I have to say that the acoustics in there are fantastic. I would show up just for the environment. It's it's a beautiful, calm, quiet space with tall ceilings. It's incredible to be in there, and then to hear music. It's the perfect hall to hear Baroque music in, I think.
And Bach plays really significantly in the Baroque style.
Yeah, the Baroque basically, the years of the Baroque period have been 1600 to 1750, and the reason why we cut it off in 1750 is because that's when Bach died. He just exemplified the Baroque in everything that he did.
Right. And the Baroque is a very interesting type of architecture and art and music because it refers to an ornateness, right?
Yeah.
An additional, what would you call it? Embellishments, exactly. Yeah. And that it takes on it can be very emotional.
Yes. That's
These
correct.
Embellishments add to the drama, maybe.
They really do. If you spend a lot of your time listening to different performances of the same piece of Baroque music, you'll hear every artist do it perform it in a different way. And what's great about hearing live performances of Baroque music is you can take more risks and you can throw in more embellishments. If you're performing for a recording that's going to be sold and played over again and again and again, you don't want to throw in too many embellishments because it gets tiring on your ear. But if you're only performing it once and that's all that it's being heard, you have the opportunity to make these embellishments that you normally wouldn't want to do to a recording or something. So it'll be fun to hear live. And then it also allows for improvisation. Yes. Yeah, so that improvisation those embellishments are the improvisation. So kind of relative to jazz, there's the chord structure that's going on and there's a general melody, and you can throw in extra stuff in between. You're not totally changing the piece, and you're not making up a completely new piece that didn't exist before, but you're making connections inside of the piece and bringing notes together that didn't exactly have that connection before. It's these embellishments you throw in. You can ornament specific notes in there in completely different ways. There's a lot of different techniques you can throw on, but it'll be different every time you play it. Wonderful. You're listening to Robin Whitehouse talk about the upcoming Santa Cruz Baroque Festival. We will be having our
second event happening February 21st at 7:30 p.m. at the Music Recital Hall, and this will be traditional Irish tunes and arrangements by William Coulter. Would you mind if we listen to a little bit of William's work, and maybe we can dissect it a little bit for our audience?
Sure, that'd be great.
Play the music, and we'll listen for the basso.
Well, actually, see, here's the thing: is that this is the music that Bill has recorded is a traditional Irish type of arrangement, and it's not necessarily these Baroque type arrangements. So we're hearing Bill performing. His recordings are traditional Irish melodies and his own arrangements, and sometimes I think he's got his own melodies too in there, but it's all traditional Irish style, but not necessarily Baroque. So we're using Bill. He's doing this kind of new thing for him with the arrangement of these extra musicians who are playing Baroque instruments and Baroque style. So these are special arrangements being done for this concert that you're not going to get on any recording.
Okay, but what are we listening to?
We're listening to arrangements for guitar and other Irish instruments of traditional melodies.
Okay.
So it's similar but different.
All right, well, let's listen to it a little bit. All right. So, Robin, Whitehouse, tell us a little bit. This is the melody.
Yeah, what we're hearing is Bill playing his finger picking style arrangement of a traditional Irish tune, which it means "Darling of My Heart." I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but it's a Stor Mo Cori, something like that. But it means "Darling of My Heart," and it's a traditional Irish tune. And this is Bill's arrangement of it for solo guitar. And so in our concert, you're going to be hearing full arrangements of traditional Irish tunes by Turlough O'Carolan. So the concert features Turlough O'Carolan's music and our all-star Santa Cruz cast of musicians performing arrangements of those traditional melodies.
It's beautiful. Now we're going to play a little bit in the background. That's William Coulter playing the guitar of traditional Irish tunes and arrangements, and you'll be able to hear this beautiful music played this Saturday, February 21st at 7:30 p.m. here at the Music Recital Hall. Tickets are at the Santa Cruz Baroque.
Yeah, you can get a link to go buy tickets at scbaroque.org, but tickets are also available at santacruztickets.com and at the UCSC box office.
Wonderful. Now, we haven't talked about the final concert of the season.
That's right.
Which is happening May 2nd, and this is American Treasures.
Yeah, so it's going to be American traditional music, which...
Traditional Baroque.
Well, America didn't really exist back then.
That's right. It's between 1600 and 1750, so
Yeah.
it was just starting to, the colonies were happening. And
Right. So let me read this little blurb that we have about that concert. Maybe that'll highlight what's going on. It's a kaleidoscope of American music from the earliest colonial dance and sacred music styles, old-timey fiddling and shape-note psalmody, to rollicking and sophisticated selections from the 18th century. So, that kind of...
That's it. American Treasures, May 2nd at 7:30 p.m., as are all of the concerts here at UCSC in the Music Recital Hall. Again, there are 5 total concerts that the Baroque Festival does every year. They've been doing it for 42 years under the wonderful guidance of Linda Burnham Hall, and she was a teacher, a professor here.
Yeah, she retired last year and is now focusing on the festival and other research projects. So no longer teaching, but she's still quite active and quite around.
And Robin Whitehouse, tell us a little bit about what got you interested in studying music here at UCSC, and then how that led to the harpsichord.
Right, that's a good question. Well, I played piano from a young age, and I've always been interested in how instruments work and that sort of thing. And when I first, my mom always played classical music, so I was familiar with Baroque style music. And when I was still in San Diego, I had a teacher friend who let me borrow a recorder, and I started playing that. And, of course, Baroque music and recorder are very closely related. So I was playing Baroque music with her, and she happened to have a harpsichord, and then another friend who had a harpsichord, and we would all play together. And I always knew the harpsichord, of course, from my childhood, and I just thought it was so cool the way that it worked and how tinkly it was. Some people can't listen to harpsichord for that long before they get annoyed and say, "Shut it off, I need something." But for some reason, I can listen to it for hours on end. So when I got accepted here at UC Santa Cruz, I perused the music center while it was closed over the summer, and I peeked into a room and saw a harpsichord and thought, yes, here's my opportunity. And so I got here, and eventually I approached Linda, who's on the teaching faculty at the time, about studying harpsichord, and she said, "Well, sure, come audition." And so the rest, I guess, is history. I completed studying with her, and she eventually invited me to check out the Baroque Festival and see what was going on there, if I wanted to get involved.
Wonderful. And now Robin is on the board of directors for the Santa Cruz Baroque Festival. We've been talking about the upcoming 4 concerts that are left in this year's lineup. February 21st, that's this Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Come out and hear some traditional Irish tunes and arrangements by William Coulter, backed up by a stunning array of musicians, including Barry Phillips, Shelley Phillips, Debbie Grosjean, and Jesse Autumn.
And also Linda Burnham Hall. She's playing harpsichord, too, on the concert.
Oh, wonderful. And then William Coulter is a staff member here at UCSC and teaches guitar, and is also a guitar performer out in the world. Out in the world. And then we have March 14th will be Shakespeare Plays, coming from the Shakespeare Songbook. And this will be a group called the Baltimore Consort. They'll be performing the Shakespeare Plays. Very interesting to hear what that's going to sound like. Then April 11th, we have the Treasures of J.S. Bach, played at the Holy Cross Church at 7:30 p.m. J.S. Bach being the exemplar Baroque composer. And then the last show of the season will be May 2nd, American Treasures at 7:30. We're going to listen a little bit more to some William Coulter. Here
Excellent.
We go. Can you tell us a little bit about this?
Well, this is from Bill's album, The Crooked Road. And I believe the entire album is made up of traditional melodies that he's arranged for either solo guitar or for guitar and traditional Irish instruments such as bagpipe or penny whistle or flute, Irish flute. Interesting, the Irish flute is a a remaining, I guess, artifact of the Baroque period. It's constructed in the way that the tone works, the diatonic, properties of it are very closely related to the Baroque traverse flute that turned into the silver flute we know today. So that's on this album a little bit too somewhere.
All right, sit back and relax, folks. Little traditional Irish tunes and arrangements with William Coulter. And we're back with Robin Whitehouse. You're listening to Artists on Art. I am your host, Nada Milkovich. We've been talking about the Santa Cruz Baroque Festival. Robin is on the board of directors and a musician in his own right. And we've been talking mostly about the Irish tunes that you're hearing in the background. And they're by William Coulter. He's the arranger.
That's right. He's arranged these traditional Irish tunes. It's what you're going to be hearing on the concert this Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
That's right, February 21st.
That's right.
At the Music Recital Hall, and William Coulter will be performing with Barry and Shelley Phillips, Debbie Grosjean, Jesse Autumn, and Linda Berman Hall, who started the Baroque Festival 42 years ago.
That's right.
Well, Robin, I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, and it's been a pleasure being here at KZSC and getting to talk about the Baroque Festival.
Yeah, it's been really interesting. I learned a lot today.
Excellent.
And please go to scbaroque.org to get more information on all of the remaining events. There's 4 concerts left for this season, and we're going to be listening to one last track from William Coulter. This is...
Excellent. Yes. Which track is this? Really quick, let me mention that student tickets are available really, really cheaply.
Okay, great. Fabulous.
This is called Farewell to Aaron / Another Reel.
Right, wonderful. Stay tuned, everybody. I've got some very different, exciting things happening for the rest of the show today. We've got Quinn Edmondson coming on next. So enjoy William Coulter.